All right, today's lesson is on the properties of equality. We're going to talk about the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division properties of equality. As you see in front of you, you see a big chart. What I'm going to have you do is hold off on writing down the chart until after we get through the end, because some people's writing is bigger or smaller than other people's writing, and we're really not sure how much space specific people are going to need. So, as we're talking about the addition property of equality, properties of equality have to do with solving equations. So you use the properties of equality when you solve equations. Okay, each one has an if-then statement, and then the next column over, we're going to add some numbers in so that you see what it does with numbers, and then I'm going to try and give you a statement that will have all those letters and numbers, and hopefully make a little bit of sense all of those. So the first if-then statement says, if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. And that's a lot of letters right there, and it could look a little bit confusing. So what we're going to say is, let's put some numbers to it. So our A is 5, our B is 5, and our C is 7. So for our example, we have 5 plus 7 on the left, which is A plus C, and then 5 plus 7 on the right, which is B plus C. So A and B are the same, and we get 12 equals 12 when you simplify. When you're solving an equation, and I'm talking about the statement right in here, it says add the same number to both sides of the equation. So when you're solving an equation, you've always heard add the same number to both sides. That is the addition property of equality. Okay, so I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. So the next three are going to be very similar to the addition property of equality, except we're going to use the different operations. So, subtraction property of equality, we'll say if A equals B, then A minus C equals B minus C. And we'll substitute the same numbers under the numerical example. So, our numbers will look like this. 5 minus 7 equals 5 minus 7. And 5 minus 7 is negative 2. So you would get negative 2 equal to negative 2. Okay? And instead of add the same number to both sides of the equation, you're going to subtract the same number from both sides of the equation. When we move into the multiplication property of equality, the if-then statement is instead of addition for the addition property of equality, and instead of subtracting for the subtraction property of equality, we're going to multiply. So if A equals B, then A times C equals B times C. The only difference is we cannot have C equal to 0, because it would make everything 0. Okay? So we're going to substitute our values in. 5 times 7 equals 5 times 7, and then 35 will equal 35. And then the statement, what you're actually going to do when you're solving the equation is you're going to multiply the same number by both sides of the equation. When you see this, or when you would use this one, is when there are fractions involved. That's when you're going to use the multiplication property of equality. Okay? And the division property of equality said if A equals B, then A over C, or A divided by C, equals B divided by C. And C cannot be equal to 0. Okay? The time that you're going to use the division property of equality is when you have a number multiplied by a variable. So like 5x equals 35. But we're going to see that in an example that we're going to do in a minute. So 5 over 7 equals 5 over 7. And then our last statement, divide the same number by both sides of the equation. Okay? What I'd like you to do is to pause your computer right now, take out a pencil and paper, and copy down this chart so that you have this chart with you, and so that you can get a little bit of understanding to these properties. Okay, now that you have copied that chart down, let's look at an example and see what it means to use these properties of equality. So in our example, it says the problem below is solved. Label each purple step with the property of equality that was used. Our problem is 5x plus 3 equals 7x plus 15. Sorry about that. I'm making this video the day before school starts. The problem is 5x plus 3 equals 7x plus 15. And the purple line right below, we see minus 5x on both sides of the equal sign. So what property of equality would have been used in that problem? If you said subtraction property of equality, you are absolutely right. When you subtract 5x on the left side, it cancels it out. When you subtract 5x on the right side from your 7x, you're going to get 2x. So the next line in our equation says 3 equals 2x minus 15. And when we add 15 to both sides of the equation, you're going to use the addition property of equality. When you add 15 to both sides, you would get 2x equals 18. Okay? And then we are going to divide by 2 on both sides. So the question is, when you divide by 2, what property of equality are you using? You're using the division property of equality. And when you divide both sides by 2, you get the answer of 9 equals x. Okay? If there are any questions, please ask your teacher. I hope you got something from this. Have a great night. Take care.